16. Um, this is one of those split weeks that's going to be, again, with the holiday last week and the NFP this week, and holy crap, there's a lot of stuff that's happening. I don't know about you guys, but I'm glad the holidays are over. I mean, the month of November has been a how can I say this in any nice ways? There's been a cluster of things that have, oh boy, they have words for it, and I don't think it's appropriate for me to use right now. It's definitely been a very tough month. What are we going to talk about today? Today, we're going to talk about the beginning of December and the NFP. Yes, that's right, the first Friday of every month. Now, unfortunately, this month is only going to have 2 days in it before the NFP hits. So it's going to be one of those short-term NFPs. But just like any NFP, the timing, your understanding of it dictates to stay away from it. That's right, it is the plague. If you can trade the signals on the dailies, we'll talk about that here in just a moment. That's about where you want to be at, right? We're also going to talk about the DEX Trader system that we've been working on feverishly, and some of the hiccups that we've run into to try to get this thing out for everybody and the basis. We'll then talk about a part of the process that is we're very proud of, that I've been working on feverishly over the last 6 days, is to get our new hour intraday signals up, and I'll explain what those are and how they'll work. And of course, then we'll talk just briefly about our final thoughts. I promise to get you in and out of here in about 30 minutes, right? Or it's free. But we should be able to get in and out of this webinar today, because I have meetings all day long through the process, as well as some consults and some meeting with some pretty big companies. I'm also meeting with Nadex here as well today. We call this today is the ley line day, right? We said everybody and their mother wanted to do something on Monday. There's certain softwares that are happening, certain things that are happening. But we are fighting the good fight for everybody. So let's get started. I don't even know what this word is. I think I wrote it down wrong. It's supposed to be fires, right? So the I's missing. The NFP fires on Friday, December 2nd. And when it does, of course, as we all know, we have tried to battle with the NFP before and trade on it. Our daily signal seems to do the best on the NFP when it fires, anything that fires at 8:15, right? On that 8:15 time frame. So between 8 and 8:15, if you're watching the signals, the dailies will give you a very good level of direction for that NFP. Okay, and it usually has a very good expiry. So if it comes out high and the NFP drops down really low, the NFP is going to end up coming back up and using that signal that happens. Now, I wouldn't be using it on 4 or 5 pairs. Use it on the main ones, the Euro USD, and a couple of anything that comes over at that point, might have some. But if you have something obscure, that's a little bit more obscure, like some of the offsets, like the CAD or anything like that. There's trading methods to trading the NFP, but in our case, anything that comes over, like the Euro USD, the British Pound USD, those kind of things. But if you try to trade like the CAD or even the JPY at that point, you might get into a little bit of a battle at that point. But we have noticed that our daily signals have a very high rate of success rate when they fire off at the 8:15 mark for the NFP day. Don't hit the ones at 8:30. Don't hit the ones at, if anything comes before 8 o'clock. But if anything fires off at 8:15, you could possibly use. But do so at your discretion. Use so in a demo format, not in a live format if you've never traded the NFP, just to get the experience behind it, right? Experience is very powerful to a lot of you. So you want to make sure that you're doing it in the right fashion, but not paying Nadex to be able to learn the process of trading. Okay, so make sure you have all the variables on and in mind. You know how to use Nadex, you know how to use the system. You're just not your first day trading, that kind of stuff, right? So this is for experienced traders only to be able to do this. All right. Also, watch out on Wednesday and Thursday if you're trading any of the other stuff from DEX indicators or 5-minute binaries or 1-hour trades, or even the signals that we're going to be releasing here this week on the intraday. Be very careful on these very high impact news processes in there. So There's a lot of stuff that's happening on Wednesday. Make sure you go to investing.com and check out their economic calendar to look at the news that's releasing. Use that as your calendar, when to trade, when not to trade, all that kind of stuff. Remember, news avoidance is going to be your savior, especially with the signals. Let's talk about DEX Trader in a part of what is it going to mean for DEX signals. And in this first phase, what are we expecting? Well, a big part of it, in the very big for DEX Trader, is this first phase that we're doing. We call it P1. Okay, in P1 phase, it's going to be a charting platform. Okay, that we're going to have. That'll have some of the standard indicators and stuff on it. Okay, and this charting platform that we're going to have. Let me see if I can square this out a little bit. Okay, the indication system that is going to be in here. We'll have a charting platform, an ability to switch in between the different assets that will be made available, and of course, the signals that will be underneath like you're used to already, right? So basically, we're regrouping the process. But the cool thing is that the system that we use right now for creating signals uses MT4, right? Uses MetaTrader 4, and we have no problem telling everybody that, right? But the system that we're going to be using for DEX Trader, okay, is going to be web-based, right? Isn't this cool? This signal platform will be delivered in a web-based format. Now, why is that so important? Well, because with MetaTrader 4, this information has to rest, right? Servers need to shut down, and so we have right now about a 94% uptime with the MT4 system. It's still high, but it's not 99.9%, which is this one, right? And this means that there is a less chance to lose a signal base with this one than there is with MetaTrader 4. Now, the other cool thing is that this base structure that we're building for P1, okay, we're going to be placing as a product on DEX signals, of course, but this charting system that we have on here is usable without worrying about downloading indicators and downloading the platforms and license keys and all that kind of stuff. This charting system will eventually have the DEX indicators branch of indicators on it in P2. So in phase number 2, the DEX indicators, okay, trend reverse, support and resistance, those things will be applied to this charting platform too, to where you'll be able to go into a little drop down, say I want the trend reverse, and I want, maybe support and resistance to help me gauge a better strike price, those kind of things. Also in P2, there'll be a processing button, so processing center button will be applied. And what that'll do is that'll bring you to a third sheet that on this particular sheet, there will be the best of series, right? And we call this the best of for right now, for lack of a better term. But the concept is simple. It'll tell us what pair does the best at what time frame, at what trading, how many pips is the best, which one provides the best pips, which one provides the best solution, right? So in this process center, there'll be a lot of information that you'll be able to click on and be able to then compile the data that's been given through the previous screen. Okay. So as all these signals, right, you're used to that spreadsheet, if you will, that you see with all, like the Euro USD, it's a buy, it's then here's the pips information, right? And the one that you're already used to using. And where you now have to compile that all information yourself, we're going to have a process center that does it for us in P2. So remember, P1 is really about taking the system off of a MetaTrader platform and putting it directly into a web-based platform so we can get the uptime even better and usable. Now, the other thing is that by P3, the fifth or the third phase, we will have the availability to basically get, because we're using the indicators on both sides, basically to give you other variable strategies. That's right. So by P3, you'll be able to hit buttons inside the DEX Trader system to maybe give you signals for the London breakout, right? Or the sausage sushi, or what other strategies we have? The 1 hour strategy, the 5 minute strategy. Yes, right, 5 minute strategy. Okay, and then whatever other strategy we ever deem, whatever we think of, we can build and put right into the DEX platform. So that's what our week has been about, is discussing the way that this system has to be built and very strong, to be able to house all these things that are coming. The one big thing we've been running against is data, consistent, responsible data, um, from any source. And in dealing with this, we had to make sure that it was correct. Now, the tough part is taking that data and utilizing it in a real-time format. Because remember, a lot of these companies that are out there, they have an inability to be able to give you real-time data. They're storing it for a few minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever it is, or every 15 minutes and giving you a packet of information. So by that time, if you're trying to trade a 5 minute series with 15-minute old data, you ain't going to do very well. Does that make sense? So I hope that you understand we're trying to find um, the best part of the solution for all involved. So um, as we move forward through the solution, um, we want to make sure that we take what you guys are telling us. So through first phase, we're going to be, we're giving this for free for everybody, right? Anybody that's here that has bought into the program is getting this DEX trader system for free. So as we build through the phases, we're going to be asking you guys to help us out, telling us what looks good, what doesn't look good, what feels good, what operates good, if there's certain things that you would like to see in there as we build the phases out. Okay, so this is your part of the company as well. So we're very confident that you're going to be able to supply us with information as we're doing, because you also have supplied us with your fees and dues. Now, what is this going to do for you? Well, first off, it's going to give you ease of use. Second off, it's going to give you available access to information. And information is key in this industry. We all know that. And of course, I'm going to be providing training throughout the entire process. It's also going to alleviate a lot of the stress, the computing stress that we have on the network, because it takes a lot to have MetaTrader 4 running with these systems involved, and compiling the information and sending it over, where the codes that we're using now are done so in a very nice, clean, sterile environment. So I think we will get a better data information. Now, the next thing that we have to look at as we release into this is that data that we have comes from a Forex background, right? But we'll be able to add the data from the API from Nadex as well. So basically, you'll have two forms. You'll have a Forex version and a Nadex version. And these two versions will get us this one will get us really close, because we have a lot of data that we can use from this to be able to help you trade the 5 minutes, 20 minutes, and just about every, well, not the 20 minutes, I'm sorry, the 5 minutes and the dailies and the intradays, very, very closely, because you'll have pricing data coming over as well, as far as market price goes for these. For these ones, you'll just have spot Forex information, which will have a good trader platform. But once we get the Nadex API into it, then the game is afoot. We now have direct information to uh, their system and be able to call these signals out even faster. You can then even apply certain indicators to that system to be able to um, house just even different strategies as we build out. So now we'll be able to apply a spreads strategy to the solution, all that. So by P3 or P4 and P5, by the fifth, because we're only looking at about 5 phases here, we should be able to have that availability to do spreads, be able to control and search for these spreads that are the best ones, and show you that data all within one screen, very easy to click on and see what's available. Okay, so we're very excited about that. I hope you are too. Now, let's talk about real into the near future here. We're talking this week, today and tomorrow, and finishing up the signal delivery for a 1 hour intraday strategy. Now, the original one worked under the same presence as the dailies do under a time emergent system. Um, this one for the intraday, and that one had about a 85 to 80 to about, I'd say about a 91% success rate, depending on which one you're looking at. In the system. Now it had it was a range based signal that came out, and we weren't getting the results we really wanted from. That's why it hasn't come back since it went down after the last programmer left. I wanted to be able to focus on something that was going to give us a higher end success rate. And as we've been testing out the trend reverse on the 1 hour strategy, we've been finding 95 and 96% success rates out there trading in those variances. We might come out a little bit lower here because remember, when individuals trade, they don't trade every single signal that comes out. A bot's going to trade every single signal. So we want to make sure as we build this out that we have that understanding that you're not going to take every single one. You're not going to trade during the news. You're not going to trade those things. So those things are really going to be taking effect. Once we do get this out, we're going to be initializing our news avoidance program. Yeah, right. And news avoidance. So this news avoidance program is going to keep the signal from firing if there is a news base of two bulls or more, or a particular status of news that will be releasing from that point. This will keep the signal base clean and that news avoidance there. So we're going to be really happy with that one very quickly. So that the first phase of that intraday will be released here today and tomorrow, and then by the end of the week, beginning of next week, we'll have the news avoidance process on there that we can then adjust as we go. Um, this is going to be in the same spot where the dailies are at. They're going to fire off through Twitter as well um, through that solution. Also, just as a backtrack, we use in Twitter notification, we use this company called Twitter Counter, and they had a hacking happen last week, and we lost access to our mail version that we can email our Twitter account the signals. And because that we didn't have that, those signals weren't being fired on Twitter. So if that puts you into an inconvenience, we do apologize. But we have gotten it rectified as of now. Twitter counter is still down, so we're using a third party, another service right now for temporary. If we can bring that back with how they used to be delivered, then we will. But if not, then so be it. We'll stay with this service that we're using right now. Eventually, the Dex Trader platform will have the availability for you to put in, into a user interface on Dex Trader, an email, an SMS, phone, whatever that you can utilize. That would be per person that you can have. So it's going to be pretty powerful to have that inside there. So we're very excited about that. In any one of these final thoughts that I ever put in together, it usually comes from stuff that happens over and even before the webinar, of course. But these are thoughts that I sort of compile about where I feel we're going and what is happening within this industry. And I began to see how holistic everything was and in that interconnection. And I began to see how frustrating it can be when you miss the signals, when you miss um, and I don't mean signals like from the company. I mean when the universe or God or the world tells you, "Hey, look, there's something wrong," and you miss that part of the process because you got blinders on or what have you. You begin to miss that how connected everything really is. Some of you are here because you've been through a hardship, that you missed something, that something happened, that you missed that gut feeling that told you, hey, don't put money into overseas binaries, or, you know, don't lick the electrical socket or something, right? You missed that that key point in what was happening. and you got hurt. Something happens, you made mistakes, you stayed too long, you didn't stay long enough, or whatever it was, right? Everybody's got hindsight 2020. But let me tell you, everything you've gone through to get yourself to here right now is what's going to create your success in the very near future for you, if it hasn't already. There's some of you that are here that have learned life lessons in a very short period of time with us. And I really do hope that a lot of you have seen that availability for you to be able to learn these life lessons in a very short period of time is saving you money. So going through the things that we're going through right now, being a part of this company, staying true to us, staying true to yourself, learning what's in front of you, going through the trials and tribulations. And I know some of you have had some issues with the systems and the programs and getting stuff lined out and that happening. But keep in mind that we're always here for you, try to help you as much as possible. But you got to go through those lessons too. It's going to sharpen who you are. And it's going to, now, if you're struggling, please reach out, set consults, sit down with us, get a hold of support, those things. Don't let the system bog you down. That's not what it's here for. But once you see how connected you are to that, once you see that every single one of you has a purpose of being here to get us to that final result, and it's not just for me, it's for all of you as well. Each one of us starts to carry that burden. Okay. And the more people you have pulling this cart, the more we're all going to make in the long run, because the program is growing because of you, and it's getting sharper, it's getting better every single day. Now, reliance upon MT4, MetaTrader 4, is a process that if you already know how to use it, great. But we're designing these programs so we can pull away from that process. And even they knew that everything really needed to go onto and get away from the software and get into more of a web-based platform. They do have a web-based MT4 and MT5, but you can't apply indication to it easily enough. You can with their standard indicators, but nothing custom. But we wanted to make something that was interconnected. So we're making our web-based programs at the same time. But again, this is difficult because it takes the data itself from the market, from that market value for Forex. And if you don't have it set correctly, if the companies that we're using, they're very expensive. So we have to be very careful on how we supply that information to the general public as well. We also have to talk about one last thing, and I'll make sure we let you go here. And that's about timing. And no matter who you are and what you're doing, timing is everything. We talk about timing and price, it being the only two things you ever need in trading, but it's really timing is everything in your life. And because it's a man-made construct, time is a man-made construct. No animal ever worries about time. Man made this to track our own events in our own life. We developed the calendar and the clock and the second and the millisecond and nanoseconds, and we made this. And not to get too philosophical with you guys, but we control it. Okay, can't turn back time, of course, in a way. But the timing that I'm referring to here is, what are you doing while, if you're waiting for certain things to release, if you're waiting for the web-based program or you're learning certain things, what are you doing to fill that time constructively? And this is where you're going through the training, you're going through the learning processes, meeting with other people, associating people in chat, trying to working the signal base, working those things. If you are utilizing your time properly, using that experience that you get while you're doing that for building the relationship on how to trade, how to use Nadex, what works, what doesn't work for you, and then applying that information to us to be able to help you even further, that's what's going to create your success here as well. Okay, so use your time right. The timing that you're here right now is a perfect time because everything's unfolding the way it is. So I ask you for your patience, for your guidance, for your trust, of course, and in turn, you will get everything that we have to offer as well. All right. Well, thank you all for hanging out. For those of you that are watching this after the fact, thanks a lot for being here. Um, we're going to do questions and answers here with the group that are inside chat. And everybody else, have a great day. Remember, watch out for the NFPs. Be careful Wednesday and Thursday trading. Up to that point, kind of just use the economic calendar as your map to trade. Okay. And follow those signals during that time. For you indicator people, lots of great stuff coming for you as well. We'll talk to you all soon. I'm Max Farrell, and this is Dex Signals. Take care.